Hi guys, Lindsay here with Sturbit Family Farm. So earlier I was thinking about how grateful I am that I've actually been poor for well over a decade actually. Pretty much my entire adult life I've been beneath the poverty line, whether it be me by myself or once I got married and had kids and things of that nature, then we really became beneath the poverty line. And to be quite honest, I'm actually really grateful that we had to struggle financially for so long and so hard, because there's several different things that have come from that are really positive things. And granted, I am a very positive person. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm really good at seeing the silver lining in things. So hopefully this video can help you guys that are really riding the struggle bus or even being ran over by it, because there are definite benefits to having a low income. So one of the first things that I want to bring up is the amount of resourcefulness that comes from being low income. Okay. So when you can't afford to buy new pants every time that you get a hole, you suddenly go, okay, I got to figure out how to sew because I can't wear holes or wear pants that basically my junk's hanging out or my butt cheek or whatever and stuff. You don't want to just keep throwing things away when you don't have the money to buy new, when you don't have the money to even buy Goodwill stuff, when you don't have the money to even buy any sort of replacement at all. You become very resourceful, which granted, my grandparents and, generations back further, this was just everyday life. But in this society now that we live in, it is very much a disposable society. You break a belt loop, you throw the pants away. You get a little bit of a stain on something, you throw it away, get a new one and stuff. But being poor has taught me that when things go bad like that, with just for example of clothing, you can save a ton of money by just figuring out how to fix it yourself, which also gives you a new skill set, which can also provide you with a lot of pride in yourself, because you might end up being like me and find out that you really enjoy sewing, which is something that I was not taught as a kid. My wife actually taught me how to sew, and I was like, yeah, you do that weird. That looks complicated. So then I just sort of wung it and figured it out on my own, and just, my sewing looks terrible, but nothing that I've done has ever come undone, which has led to other subsequent holes in different pants because my patchwork was too good. But it is what it is. Another thing that I have learned with being poor is that you can learn tons of new skill sets to save you a massive amount of money every month. Okay. One of the biggest things that I've been doing for several years now, which I'm sure a lot of folks during 2020 kind of had to learn this, or they at least thought about doing this, because, well, I have short hair. Okay. When you have a short hairstyle, you're used to going every 2-3 weeks to get it cut again and again and again to maintain the style. When your hair is short, it is not easy to go a long duration of time without cutting it, because then it starts touching your ears, it gets bunched up under your glasses, it won't lay right. It's not the same situation as when you have long hair. Trust me, I know. I used to have long hair when I was young, and you could go once a year and get your hair trimmed up and you'd be good, and you wouldn't even notice a thing. The skill set that I learned in 2020 was how to cut our own hair. Around here in Northeast Ohio, just to go to Great Clips, to get just a regular cut, even if it's just buzzing the sides and the back of your head, it is $20 plus your expected tip. So when you have a household of even just 2 people, once you add in the tips and the time and the gas and all that stuff when you live rurally, that's about $50 a month if you stretch it out to just going once a month to get your hair cut. That saves a lot of money if you can figure out how to do it on your own. And trust me, cutting hair is really not that difficult. I cut all of my own hair and my wife's hair, and when our son was not a super picky teenager, he also had us cut his hair too. But now he's going through things. I'm sure you all have met a 17-year-old, or you were all once 17, and you understand that it's not cool to have, a non-professional cut your hair, even if it's just literally trimming a half an inch off. But whatever. He gets to pay for his own haircuts because, well, we haven't paid for one in 4.5 years, so not going to start now. Some of the other things that you can do to start saving a lot of money, and that I've learned through being poor, is cooking from scratch. Buying the instant stuff, the instant meals, the pre-boxed, the pre-made stuff that you can't be dyslexic because you really need to read the directions, to microwave things. Those sorts of things are really easy to replicate in your own kitchen, to make your own homemade bread, which I learned to make my bread, and then now I've built a whole business around selling the bread that I make from scratch, which I don't follow a recipe. I literally just dump and do things intuitively till it feels right, because reading is not, and comprehension, I should state, and comprehension is not my strong suit whatsoever. So I'm one of them types that when I'm reading the instructions on a microwavable package, I have to read it like 7 times to make sure that I'm doing it right. And then I'm like, wait, did I read that right? So then I stop the microwave, and this stuff's not good for you. It really doesn't taste that great, and it's a lot cheaper to make it from scratch, is the gist of what I'm trying to say. The other things too with cooking from scratch is, even if you just have a small garden, that also will save you a ton of money to just have a few fresh vegetables that you can just pluck out of the ground. But so one of the biggest things too about being poor that I found as a huge blessing is learning to wait, learning patience. Because when you're poor, the last thing you really want to do, the last thing I want to do with being a poor person, hey, don't peck at the camera, little turkey. We got baby turkeys up here. They found me. We raise a very friendly breed of turkeys, so when they hear me talking or think that I'm outside, they come looking for me. No, don't peck that. So one of the biggest things is it has taught me patience. I have not been a very patient person throughout most of my life. I'm always go as fast as possible. But when you don't have funds and you don't want to go into massive amounts of debt to get things done, you learn to be very patient. You also learn that there's a lot of things that you can do on your own that aren't that complicated. You know, you guys are all watching me on YouTube here, and there's been so many, please stop pecking the tripod. This little turkey, I swear. There's been so many things that I have learned through watching YouTube videos of different how-to videos that it makes it so that way with the internet at everybody's fingertips, you can learn any skill set known to man through the internet. So there's no excuse as to why you can't change your own oil, because that saves you, I do believe that around here it's about $60 to go someplace to get your oil changed, whereas you can usually get the oil and stuff on special for anywhere from $30 to $40 to change the oil and the filter yourself. It's not a hard process at all to do that. It's literally just undoing a bolt and unscrewing the filter and then just redoing the process. There's several different things that are so simple to do, but our minds limit us into thinking that it's something complicated, that we need a professional to do all these things that we couldn't possibly learn how to fix a wall, how to fix a door, how to install something. We couldn't possibly know that because we're not professionals. But the thing is, when you're really low income and things break and shit happens to where you're like, oh man, I have got to do this, but I can't afford to hire anybody, suddenly you learn how to become a plumber. Suddenly you learn how to rewire an outlet that's, really a dangerous thing and stuff. It's not that hard to learn things because we all have the technology. We all have all of the knowledge that humanity as a collective source has ever had. We all have that at our fingertips. There's no excuses. Except for our own minds tell us we can't do this or we can't do that because we've not been trained. I'm telling you, there's so much you can learn just from reading on the internet or watching videos if you don't have very good reading skills, that you can do anything. And that is the biggest thing that being poor has taught me, is that I am truly capable of doing anything. That there's not a single thing that I'm not capable of figuring out. Because there's not always money to throw at situations. And right now, with the economic times that we're all in, people are really, that have never had economic troubles, they're really starting to figure out that things cost a lot of money. And that there are a lot of things that you can do on your own to make life easier. The last thing I want to touch on is buying in bulk. That is a perk of being poor, okay? It might cost a little bit more to, first start doing it, but that is something that once you start it, you realize how much it saves you and you become addicted to it, and it makes you want to always buy everything in mass quantities. Will you guys stop pecking me? These turkeys are literally pecking at my shorts, pecking at my pants, my boots, everything. They're ridiculous. If this is your first time watching me, these are their dads, this one here and the one behind me. I affectionately call them the boys, and the boys find me everywhere. Even if I'm trying to leave the property, they try to come down the driveway and chase after me so that way they can say goodbye one last time. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits to being poor, and it has nothing to do with anything that the government might offer you or give to you or anything of the sort like that. If you choose to look at things of how you can save money and learn new skill sets yourself, you'll suddenly realize that being poor could actually be one of the greatest things that's ever happened to you. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one.